My son told everyone I was too old, too slow, and too much of a burden. So without asking me, he put me in a nursing home and moved into my house, acting like I was already gone. But I wasn't confused. I wasn't finished. And while he thought I'd fade away quietly, I had a plan. A plan he would feel every time he opened his front door. I had spent my life giving up space. Space in my closet for his school uniforms. Space in my savings so he could buy a car for college. Space in my marriage, my time, and my body. All to make sure my boy had everything he needed. So when Andre and his new wife, Kendra, needed a few weeks to stay after their marriage, I didn't hesitate. The house was big enough. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. I figured I'd take my room, they'd have the guest room, and we'd share meals like a family again. But Kendra had other ideas. From day one, she acted like she was doing me a favor. The way she walked in, sunglasses on inside the house, didn't even call me Mama D like Andre always did, just Dolores, like I was a tenant in her rental. That first night, she complained about the mattress in the guest room, saying it was too stiff and making her back hurt. Andre gave me a look across the dinner table. I could already see it coming. "Ma," he said, "what is Kendra and I use the master for now? You're smaller anyway. You don't need all that space." I blinked. "Andre, your daddy and I slept in that room for 30 years. "I know, Ma, but Kendra's got her back," he said. "She's 38. I said, "Her back will be fine." Kendra pouted like a teenager. Andre rubbed her shoulder. That night, I went to bed in the master anyway. It was still my room, my bed, my memories. But the next afternoon, when I came back from the market, my things were packed into boxes and stacked outside the door. The door was locked. I stood there on that hallway rug, staring at my own life in cardboard. Andre came out of the kitchen like nothing happened. "Oh yeah, we moved some stuff to give you space. We figured it'd be easier this way. You can use the guest room without asking. Come on, don't make this a big thing." Kendra appeared behind him, wearing my satin robe like it was hers, rollers in her hair, holding a mug that said Queen. She smirked at me. That night, I slept in the guest room on a stiff mattress, with one outlet that didn't work and a broken closet door. The room was cold and drafty. My knees ached. I didn't say anything because I was raised to believe that mothers endure, but endurance has a limit. The next day, Kendra had her friends over for brunch. I wasn't invited. I heard them laughing about how some old people don't know when to step back. Later, I found my wedding portrait face down in the hallway closet. My husband's army medals tossed in a shoebox under paint cans. My photo albums were pushed aside for Kendra's skincare fridge. Andre avoided eye contact. I heard him whisper to her one night, "Don't worry, she's quiet, she'll adjust." Adjust? This was my house. I didn't just pay for it. I built the bones of it with my back and my prayers. When the roof leaked in '89, it was me up there with duct tape. When Andre needed braces, I skipped heat that winter. When the bank threatened foreclosure, I picked up a second job at the school cafeteria. And now I was being shuffled like old furniture by my only child. Then it got worse. They put a new lock on the master bedroom door, not just the turn knob, but a keypad. "Hey, pet," I asked for the code. "It's just for privacy," Andre said. "You know, boundaries." "Boundaries in my house?" I asked. "Come still, it's your house. We're just building a future here." And I was just the past. They never said it out loud, but every sigh, every shrug, every closed door screamed it. That weekend, I tried to make Sunday dinner, fried chicken, greens, cornbread, Andre's favorites. Kendra waltzed in halfway through and said, "Oh, we're doing takeout tonight. My stomach's too sensitive for all this grease." Andre nodded along. They ate sushi in the master bedroom. I ate alone at the dining table I bought with my first tax refund. No blessing, no thank you, just silence. The kind of silence that makes you remember things. Like whose name is still on the deed. Like which drawer still holds the business card for Monica Reeves, my lawyer since 2005. like the fact that I might be old, but I'm not done. They thought I was too quiet to fight. They thought being tired meant I was weak. They thought calling me Ma while pushing me into the guest room was enough to keep me from reclaiming what's mine. But the thing about guests is they leave, and I was about to show them how. I stopped cooking. That was the first change. Andre didn't notice, but Kendra did. She made a comment about how I guess retirement finally kicked in and laughed, like I wasn't standing 3 feet away. I let her laugh. Let her think I'd given up, but I wasn't resting. I was watching. They filled my house with noise. Kendra invited her sisters over nearly every weekend. Andre let their friends crash on the living room couch. I started finding eyelashes in my sink, nail glue on the kitchen table, a spilled bottle of foundation on the arm of my late husband's recliner. I asked Kendra to be careful. She said, "If it bothers you, maybe don't sit there." It was the same chair I held Andre in when he had asthma attacks at night, the same one where his father read him bedtime stories in a voice so soft it had put the birds outside to sleep. I cleaned it with a wet cloth that night. The stain didn't come out. I didn't try again. The worst part wasn't the mess. It wasn't even the way they moved through the house like they'd built it themselves. It was the way they erased me without ever raising their voice. Kendra turned our dining room into a content corner for her YouTube channel. Ring light, white backdrop, my grandmother's lace doilies stuffed in a box behind it. "Vintage doesn't get clicks," she said. One day, I came back from the pharmacy and found all my china boxed up and labeled donation. I stood there for a minute, just staring at the boxes. Kendra walked in wearing one of my scarves, holding a half-empty glass of wine. "You like it?" she said, lifting the scarf. "It gives me that grown woman vibe." I didn't answer. I just picked up one of the boxes and carried it to my room, the guest room. I mean, the room with the faulty heater, one dresser, and no closet rod. I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the floral wallpaper. I used to think it was ugly. Now, it was the only thing in that house that still belonged to me. That night, I tried to access the master bathroom. My knees were acting up. I just needed the tub. The guest bathroom had a stand-up shower with a slippery tile floor. I knocked. Kendra opened the door halfway, holding a robe closed at the neck. "Is there an emergency?" she asked. "I need to soak my knees. They're swelling." Andre appeared behind her. "Ma, we talked about this. That bathroom's our space now. Just use the other one." "The tub doesn't work," I said. "I've told you that twice. Maybe you can get someone to fix it." Kendra shrugged. "We're on a budget." I looked at Andre, my only child. He couldn't even hold my gaze. They closed the door. I stood there for a while, not knocking again, not begging, just standing there like a ghost nobody remembered to bury. The next day, I called Monica from the public library. She didn't ask many questions, just listened, took notes, and told me she'd look into recent comps in the neighborhood and begin paperwork for a partition sale. I told her to move quietly, not to tip them off until the papers were signed. She said, "Understood." That was a Tuesday. By Friday, Kendra was telling people she wanted to start a garden out back. She walked through my yard in heels, pointing at places she'd level out. She said she might tear up the swing set. She wanted a hot tub. "I don't care what your hoe says," she laughed. "We'll charm them." She already thought it was hers. Monica called the following week. She had a buyer, full cash, no contingencies. The buyer didn't care who lived there now. They just wanted clean paperwork and fast turnover. I told her to proceed. I made photocopies of everything, the deed, the signed agreement, the buyer's offer, and put it all in a manila envelope. I slid it under the mattress in the guest room, right next to my mother's old Bible. The good one with the broken spine and the names of all our family births and deaths written in the margins. I didn't talk much that week, just watched. Andre had started referring to the master bedroom as our suite. Kendra posted an Instagram story with the caption, "Home Sweet Home, #married life." They had no idea I started packing quietly. Just the essentials, some clothes, my late husband's pocket watch, a few photo frames, my crochet needles. Kendra asked why I was cleaning. I'm making room, I said. Feels like things are shifting. She laughed and said, good, because I want to turn that guest room into a nursery. That was the last straw. Not because they were thinking about a baby, but because she thought she could build a family in a house she stole from the woman who made it a home. I didn't flinch. Monica called the next day to confirm the closing date. End of the month, she said. I'll bring the papers. I asked her to have the sheriff deliver the notice on a Sunday. You sure? She asked. I want them dressed. I want her lashes on. I want him holding that damn mimosa when it hits. She said nothing for a moment, then she said, it's done. I hung up the phone and sat on the edge of the bed, the guest bed, the cold bed, the one they thought they'd forced me into, and I smiled because they locked me in a room, but I still held the key. The morning the papers were signed, I wore white. Not for purity. Lord knows that was long gone between me and my son. I wore it because I wanted to look like peace. The kind of peace that unsettles people who know they did you wrong. Monica arrived right on time, like she always does. Her heels clicked across my porch and echoed down the hallway like Judgment Day. She had a folder under her arm, a smile on her lips, and a document that would finally turn the tide. Are you ready? She asked, sitting across from me at the kitchen table. I was once told not to touch because Kendra just polished it. I nodded. Cash buyer is a sale, no inspection delays, title's clean, taxes are current, and since you're the sole deed holder, Andre and Kendra have no legal ground to stall. Monica said. I want them served on Sunday, I said, mid-morning. Monica didn't even blink. I've already booked the sheriff. That night, I slept deeper than I had in weeks. No creaking doors, no whispers outside the guest room, no Kendra stomping around in my slippers. Just silence. The kind of silence that comes when the decision's been made and all that's left is execution. Saturday came and went, like a countdown. Andre was outside washing his car. I stood behind the curtain and watched him rinse down the hood, like he didn't have eviction paperwork in the mail. Kendra was filming some nonsense on the porch, talking about manifesting blessings into their lives. The irony nearly knocked me over. I didn't speak a word to them. I just made cornbread, watered the roses, and ironed my church blouse. Sunday morning came. I was sipping tea when I heard the knock. Not a gentle tap, but a firm, "We have papers." Monica and the deputy stood at the door, both dressed sharp. Andre opened it barefoot in sweatpants. His face dropped. Monica handed him the envelope and said, "This property has been legally sold. You have 30 days to vacate. This notice has been filed with the county, and a formal letter will follow." Kendra appeared behind him, still in her robe, hair wrapped, holding her phone. "What is this?" Andre opened the papers. His eyes scanned the first few lines, and his face went ghost white. "You sold the house?" he said, spinning toward me. I took another sip. "You can't do this," he snapped. "We live here." "No," I said calmly. "You stayed here. This is our home." "No, this is the home I let you into. And then you locked me out of my own bedroom and called it a favor." Kendra started stammering. "You're throwing your own son out after everything we've done for you?" I set my tea down. "You boxed up my life, Kendra. You wore my robe. You turned my master bedroom into your little kingdom and thought I'd die quietly in the guest room. We were building a family here." I stood up. "Then build it somewhere else." The deputy stepped forward. "You have 30 days to vacate. After that, it becomes a matter for enforcement." Andre looked at me like a little boy who just realized his mama wasn't going to bail him out this time. "I can't believe you're doing this," he said. I looked him in the eyes, and for the first time in my life, I let the disappointment show. "I believed in you," I said. "That was my mistake." They didn't say much after that. Just stood there, frozen. The brunch guests arriving that morning didn't know whether to hug or run. Kendra slammed the door behind her. Andre followed. Monica and I stood on the lawn a minute longer, watching as the neighbors peeked out through curtains, pretending not to be listening. He turned to me. "You okay?" I nodded. "Better than I've been in years." We drove to the bank that afternoon and finalized the deposit. It was a large check, more than I expected. But I didn't smile at the number. The smile came when I handed Monica a folded piece of paper. "What's this?" she asked. "A listing for a small 2-bedroom condo across town. It's near the senior center, walking distance to the park." She looked it over. "You want to buy this in cash?" She nodded, already pulling out her phone. "I'll make the call." We closed within a week. The condo wasn't big, but it was mine. Fresh paint, clean windows, a quiet porch with just enough space for 2 rocking chairs and a lemon tree in a pot. I didn't tell Andre where I moved. He tried calling once, left a voicemail that said, "You went too far, Ma." I blocked him. Kendra sent a Facebook message saying I was toxic and ungrateful. I reported it as harassment. Tyler, my granddaughter, found me anyway. She showed up at the church one Sunday with her backpack and her big brown eyes and hugged me for 5 straight minutes. "Can I visit?" she asked. "Baby," I said, "you can stay as long as you want." We cooked greens that night and played old jazz on the stereo. She helped me arrange my photo albums and told me about school. I gave her tea. That evening, I stood on my new porch, tea in hand, and watched the sun fall behind the hills. There was no ring light, no music, no stomping heels or slammed cabinet doors. Just peace, the kind you pay for, not with money, but with silence, restraint, and one well-timed signature.